Hello, everyone. My name is Deja Rush. I am an African-American female, and I am a fourth-year medical student at Howard University College of Medicine. And this is my elevated story. When I was in college, I actually was intending to be an engineer. So I started off being a biomedical engineering major. I wanted to get my PhD, go into research and development, and potentially help solve some of the many problems that we have in medicine in terms of diseases that continue to elude even our greatest minds. And I switched course after my freshman year. I was diagnosed with cancer. And so after I went through treatment and various surgeries and had to take off for school for a while, when I returned, I had a new vested passion in becoming a physician and then using my background in engineering to try to help with still solving some of those same problems that I originally was interested in. Definitely costs were something that I looked at right away. When I was in college at Ohio State, the majority of my tuition and room and board and everything were covered with scholarships that I was immensely grateful for. So I came out of college with relatively no debt. And then when I got to medical school, and I was applying, the process to apply in and of itself is extremely expensive. Fortunately, I had worked a couple of jobs while I was in college, and so I used that money to finance my applications and pay for the MCAT and primaries, secondaries, interviews, all of those things. But that money definitely ran low very quickly. And then once I was making my decision of what school to go to, I definitely factored in costs. There were a couple of schools that I got into that were in my home state of Ohio, and the tuition prices were not the greatest, but they were looking a lot better than going out of state or going to a private university. And so I actually got a scholarship to one of the schools that I was accepted to back home. And that was the big driving force for why I was originally going to go to that school. I ultimately chose Howard almost on faith. They ultimately did give me a lot of financial support and scholarship money with the Bloomberg scholarship and everything, but it was going to be more expensive. But I felt like the opportunity to be able to go to an HBCU and finally live in a place outside of my comfort zone was worth taking that chance. I have never been treated by a doctor that looked like me that I can recall in my childhood. I think that was a big reason or a big drive for why I wanted to attend Howard University for medical school. When I went for my interview and you actually walk the halls of the hospital and you see Black physicians, it's truly inspiring and something that makes you want to be a part of it. And so I have had mentors, one of them being Dr. Damaris Fawcett. He's the sole neurosurgeon at Howard University, and he has been my biggest advocate, my biggest supporter, one of the greatest mentors that I will probably have in my entire life. And it's been really nice to have someone who I can talk to, not just about neurosurgery, not just about medicine, but some of the other nuances that come with race and having to deal with the microaggressions or macroaggressions and subtleties or obvious notions that are being made against you. And just having that support in every facet has been extremely, extremely valuable for me. And then in terms of the future and paying it forward, I think it's very important that we have a workforce, a physician workforce that's representative of the population. Being awarded the ElevateMeD Scholarship was a very big accomplishment for me, and I was very excited to find out when I was awarded the scholarship. So obviously on the financial front, I discussed a little bit earlier about some of the expenses that I have coming up in terms of paying for some internships and then also still having to pay your tuition for your fourth year of medical school and then also having to pay to apply to residency. And so being able to have that financial support is definitely a huge, huge help. And I'm very grateful for that. But I like the fact that this is not just a scholarship, but it's also a mentorship program. So having the opportunity to be connected to a mentor in my field who is a woman of color, who went through neurosurgery and can attest to the challenges and can really talk about what it's like to walk that path, those 7 years of residency. having the opportunity to talk to someone about these and guide me as I go along. I'm also very grateful for that. And then also the different sessions, having the opportunity to network with other scholars across this country outside of your own institution, outside of your field of interest. And so you typically don't have a lot of opportunities to do that in medical school. And so I think that that's also a great opportunity. And I think that some of the other things that are built into the infrastructure of the program, so having counseling in terms of financial counseling, and then instructions on how to go about networking or, you know, finding different opportunities for yourself, taking your own initiative and being a self-starter. So having programs that are dedicated to really helping people be well-rounded in all of those facets that it requires, because being a physician is not simply about treating patients. It has so many other nuances to it. So definitely glad to be an ElevateMeD Scholar and to have that support in so many different forms.